Hi, Rohan.
Hi, Mimi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So this headline, this line was like Mimi meets Rohan.
I
So
know
it was
it
me with
works
Mimi,
well,
and
doesn't it?
this it was big time. You know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how you been?
I've been doing well, and I just wanted to first of all say welcome to Mimi Meets Rohan. Um,
Yeah.
as you know, I'm
Thank you.
movie mad Mimi, and I was just absolutely mad about your film, Mimi. I think it was such a beautiful film. You've showcased progressive storytelling in such a delicate manner, and I just loved it. I've seen it so many times already.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so glad.
Yeah, so actually, before we talk more about the film, what's the first film you saw that completely made you fall in love with cinema?
Right. So I think till I graduate, I'm a physics graduate. I graduated in 2007,
Hmm.
and after that I wanted to do something in films. I didn't know what.
Hmm.
It happened that you don't want to do job, and I didn't want to do MBA and some corporate job. I just want to do something creative, something nice, but I didn't know what. So after that, I roam around. I went to few film institute. I landed on one institute where I asked them, I want to do a film course, and they said what? And I was not prepared for this question because I thought filmmaking is filming. To what
Yeah.
course? So I said okay. So I knew two things. One is actor and one is director. I said actor, and they said the fees is 1.5 lakhs, and I said it's huge, it's too big. What about the fees of director? They said 1.5 lakhs. So this actually happened. I told in so many interviews that then I went on to choose the least, like I took the rate chart of the filmmaking courses. I
Hmm.
went like this, right? 1.5 lakh, 1.5 lakh, 1,25,000 script writing.
Hmm.
So I chose script writing. That I had only that much of money. And
Hmm.
so what happened in that year, of course, that it is not that I learned writing, but I got so my introduction of world cinema has begun from there,
Yeah.
my passion. And so before that, world cinema for me was an American cinema, especially for was like Terminator, Jumanji, Titanic,
Oh,
Home
definitely.
Alone. So all these movies which are like global hits and Jurassic Park. So apart
Yeah.
from 4 or 5 of those films, I didn't know anything about the world cinema. But at that time, they were showing in the institute. They were showing a film, and they said this film is rated number 1, and I couldn't even pronounce the name of the film at that time. And I said, okay, let me just see it. And I saw that film with in a big screen. They had some screening, and it blew my mind. I couldn't
Hmm.
understand that this is a level of cinema. How is it possible?
Hmm.
And it's like perfection. And I went on to tell that story to hundreds of my friends in my small town.
Yeah.
So that film was this film just pushed me, changed me, was Shawshank Redemption. So Shawshank,
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious?
Amazing.
Just imagine a guy who has not seen anything,
Hmm.
and you saw him Shawshank Redemption, and I was like, wow. So
Yes,
that
definitely.
changed me. The screenplay, the impact of the
Yeah.
story, the characters, the lines,
Hmm.
and I said, okay, I want to write something like this. That just started after that, And then of course, there's so many movies, but another movie I recall is Battle of Algiers. It's a
Yeah.
1968 film. If you have seen it, it's
Yeah.
Gilo Bravo's director. And when I saw that film, I don't know how to react to it, because how can you make a movie like this in 60s? I don't think even we can make a movie like this in 2040. The scale is like, uh, it's like they're shooting it real. It's like a documentary. It's like hundreds of characters in one frame,
Hmm.
all realistic, and you don't get a feeling that they are extras or junior artists
Yeah.
or like that thing. And there's so much of blast, and there's a story of so many characters and the way it's been treated. So that also blew my mind. But so they obviously after every certain time, I think you come across a film that just push you and then just tells you that you're nothing,
Hmm.
brother, bro. You're average. What you're doing is nothing. Look at this, what these people have done. Or even, I think some Bimal Roy films and Indian Hindi cinema of 60s were very good. I'm a big fan of those times.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I think you're just as movie mad as I am, because everything you said, I'm completely agreeing with 100%. And so I wanted to actually now talk more about Mimi. I mean, it's been such a big film. I mean, I think everyone's talking about it in the last month, especially. And so you've written the screenplay, and you worked with Lakshman Uttekar again. And I know there was a story with Samruti Pore. How did the journey of Mimi begin?
So, me and Lakshman sir, we did Luka Chupi. It was my script. Lakshman sir directed it. And we took the script. We were to so many people in 2017. Then when Maddock heard it, Dinesh Vijan heard it, they loved it. Immediately they said it's a bounce script. We are on. So then we got Kriti on board, Karthik on board. 2018 we shot.
Yeah.
2019 it got released. And sorry. In 2019, though it released in March 2019, it was a success. And then Lakshman sir said, let's do something, what we should do next. So we were toying around with some concepts and thoughts. So Maddock has taken the rights of this Marathi film called Mala Ai Bhaise. That means I want to be a mother. And they had this right from rights from, I think, 2-3 years back. They had this rights. And so the Lakshman sir, they got Lakshman sir on board. Lakshman sir came to me, said, I have an idea how to adapt that film. Because the original film, it was a Marathi film, low budget Marathi film. It was well received because the main concept, story, the thread of surrogacy, the character, it was good. But when it came to us, me and Lakshman sir, we wanted to adapt it in a way that we wanted to put so many characters and elements to it. We wanted to put, our strength of some satirical elements and situation, as well as family and all those things, all those aspects. So Lakshman sir had this idea how to adapt. Then I started writing it. Then we wrote the script. I think before the script, we got Pankaj ji and Kriti on board.
Yeah.
And then Sai and Manu with all those good actors. And so everybody, I think when the first narration happened, everybody was very confident that the script is very nice and it is good. And, there's so many things to do, and especially for Pankaj ji also. And after the first CAD, we got Rahman sir on board for the music.
I know, yeah.
So we were like, wow, are you serious? So, and then Rahman sir got into the movie, and so he loved when he was doing the music. Lakshman sir was there. So I'm very fortunate that Lakshman sir one day said to me, that's the best moment for me. He said, Rahman sir wants to talk to you. So I said, really? Yeah.
Wow.
Rahman sir, I'm like, Lakshman sir was there for 8-10 days. And he said he told me it's like the best experience for any director, to stay there, work on music in Chennai. So he called me, he loved the dialogues and everything. So I think when we had some screening of Mimi internally with Maddock, everybody liked it. So we kind of knew that we have a good product, but the way it's been received, it's overwhelming. The way every age group or people from around the continents or countries and so many different people are reacting to it, and especially the surrogacy part, the emotional part, because the last 20-25 minutes are emotionally driven, and we didn't try to put any forced humor in it or anything. We just went with the story and the character. So still people reacted well, and we're very happy. So that's how Mimi started, and I guess.
And no, you're 100% right. We have all connected with it. I've connected with it. My parents have connected with it. So many generations. You're right. Everyone's loved it. And I'm actually intrigued. This is a kind of a Mimi sort of question because, as you know, I'm Mimi, and I was so intrigued when I first heard about Mimi. I think Kriti Sanon mentioned it just a year and a half ago in an interview, and I was like, wow, there's a film called Mimi coming out, and so I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the name? I mean, the character's name, because I think it adds so much to the film.
Actually, earlier, I guess uh, when Mimi came to us for writing, so Maddox already has asked some people. I think they asked another writer called Sita to, think about write something about it. So she came up with the name Sita Menon. She came up with the name Mimi. And then when Lakshman came on board and I came on board as a writer, so we kept that name. It came from her, it's from Sita, because she was also just thinking about and she was toying around the idea. But everybody just loved that name.
Yeah.
We didn't think twice to, change that name because it's just such a good name. I mean,
and it's such a global name, I would say. But
it's your name, and it's your name.
I'm not being biased, but I think it's such a global name because I think
it has that connection.
Understand
it has that connection to some names really has that connection to it. And since the character we started developing was also a very interesting character of Mimi, when the name suited the character.
Yeah,
it was the journey of the character. We were talking about titles, so many titles for the film, but every time now and then we used to come to an halt and we said, you know what, Mimi is a great title.
It's easy.
Yeah, okay, let's
easy
think.
to spell, easy to remember, and I'm not being biased, by the way, but I think it's.
No, I know. You're right, and even when in a story when Mimi delivers the child and the child grew up, the American child that she had in a woman. When he grew up, then we decided that the child would not call her mom.
Yeah,
the child will also call her Mimi. So that was really interesting because the child answered every time he questions and about a Mimi. Ye kya hua, Mimi? Ye kya? So that was also sounded very cute.
Yeah, and actually, it's a funny story that because my mom told me when I was younger, when I was like, I couldn't pronounce, I call her Ammi, I couldn't say that. So I basically I used to call her Mimi, and because it was just easy to pronounce. And my mom said that actually the first time when you called me mom was actually Mimi. And I know there's certain cultures as well where Mimi.
Yeah, but you're right. I know so many children, they call their mom Mimi. So many because they're growing up, they hear mama. So they instead of mama, they say Mimi.
Yeah.
So very, very catchy two words. So yeah, we kept that.
In the Korean culture, maybe there's Mimi is also another word for mum, and so it works correct. Mimi does eventually become the mum, and so yeah, and obviously you're a screenwriter, and I like to also write as well, and I have like this writing process that I go through. As a screenwriter, how do you begin your writing process?
First, I get an idea. So I'll tell you the example. I had an idea of Luka Chupi because at that time I was dating one girl and I was traveling from 3 hours from local train to Bombay from a small town, and one day she asked me, do you want to live in with me in Mumbai? And I was like scared. I was like, really? What if my family finds out? So that was this idea. It didn't feel like very 3-4 dates or something like it.
Live in.
Yeah. So and the thought stayed. Now I wanted that thought stayed, and I said, wow, what a thought that what if some characters stay with a big joint family in a small town and live in relationship there. So then I started thinking. So what happened? So I had this living thought. I had a guy and a girl. Then I wanted I wanted some substance to it, some depth to it, some connection to. That's what I seek in every story, some cultural connection to it. Then, or religion, some connection. Then I obviously knew about Radha and Krishna, and so that's probably greatest love story of Indian mythology. And they never got married. So when I said, okay, Radha Krishna were from Vrindavan, Mathura. So what if we set a story in Mathura, in a heartland of India, where there's some things about people are like intolerant about some things and religious and political anger and everything. So I like to play with that. I know it's risky sometimes, but
I know,
if
yeah.
you really see Luka Chupi or Mimi, because the culture, like you mix two cultures
Yeah.
and you get a great background, a premise. Like you mix, if a Hindu character is coming to Muslim mohalla and pretending that
Oh,
they're
that's
husband and wife,
just
in
so
Mimi,
funny.
we play.
I remember when
No,
Jai Shri Ram is written on the car and he's calling himself Nasiruddin and then he changes it to Nawazuddin. It's just so funny. I mean, I reminded that so many times.
yeah, so that's what we did. So I generally, when I get a concept, I try to first find a place where I can set it. Okay, so the Kochvi could be set anywhere, but I wanted that some relevance, cultural or religious or some political relevance to it. So I set it in North India and Mathura especially.
Yeah.
And then when I set the town or place of the story and characters, then I start thinking around how the town people are, what is the famous for, and how do people react? Is there any big city around? What they do? What they that? Then I place the character in. I give the character a job which is related to that town or place,
Yeah.
and that's how. And generally, I don't like to write like 10-20 pages of story before writing screenplay. I just think of a beginning, a middle, and an end, and one or two characters, main characters, and then I straight away goes to screenplay. Because when I start writing dialogues now, so that gives me my characters.
Yeah.
That's how I explore it. See, I didn't know Mimi till I wrote fourth scene. So I said, okay, Mimi is like that. Then in 10th scene, when I write at that, then I realized, then I explore, oh, Mimi can do this also. But so I like to go in this organic process of writing and keep on, and I come back and change again and come back and change again. But I don't like to write like 100 points of a story or character and follow that. I don't like to do that because then there's no fun for me.
Yeah.
As a writer. So I like to explore. I don't know, like sometimes I'm on a scene 5 and I don't know what is scene 6 and what the character is going to do. But when I comes to an end scene 5 and cut to transition, then I think, oh, this character can go there. So somehow it's not, the story takes me and I like to go with the flow. But definitely definitely I always know that this is the midpoint, this could be the midpoint, and this is the climax. So we have to reach here.
Yeah.
So, so I'm from Andheri, I have to reach Kulava. I know that.
Yeah.
But where and how, that's I just leave on the process and organic and the character. Let's see. And sometimes even the climax changes as you go along with the character and story. So sometimes even that changes. So I like that thing. Like I did some course about writing. I read so many books about Sitfield and so many screenplay theories and everything. They are good. They are like, but generally I don't follow anything. I just want to, because I think if I know too many things about my story and characters, then I will not enjoy writing screenplay and dialogue.
Yeah.
I'll just go from there. Okay, I know where I want to go. It become boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I come back again. Every day I come back again, the same thing. Okay, and keep on changing. So my first draft ideally is not first draft.
Yeah.
So when I come to the first draft, it's actually second, third, fourth, fifth draft. That's why, and it's kind of a draft that I can take it to the producer or director. I'm not like I write 60 scenes first, then started changing again. No, that's not my process.
Wow. Well, speaking of like writing scenes, I mean, I think one of my favorite scenes, if I may say, in Mimi was actually when Mimi gives birth. I mean, it's such an emotional scene. It's such an emotional scene. And I mean, like when you write a scene like that on paper, are you aware of how emotional the final outcome will be?
See, the scene like that, as a writer, I can't do much.
Yeah.
I just know in the flow of the story that Mimi has to deliver a baby and what she must be feeling. And so I'm more into, like what her parents are feeling. They go to this government hospital and they ask Bhanu, Pankaj Ji's character, to write his name. And he says, first time he's writing a name as a father.
Yeah.
And then the Mimi's father says, you know what, mera baap teri umar mein dada bana tha.
Yeah.
So that is my part as a writer, I think. But the delivery scene is I can only write what Mimi is, but it all depends on how director shoot it and how Kriti, the actor, is feeling it.
Hmm.
Those scenes are out of a writer's like reach. I can just write, okay, Mimi is delivering baby, and I can write 10 lines. But what you see in Mimi, the impact is by Kriti and Lakshman sir,
Hmm.
director, because he for that particular scene, I have not seen any pregnancy scene being shot in such a interesting way. So he just kept on the face and the pain, and he never edited that scene. He just wanted people to feel that this is actually the pain that women go through.
Hmm.
And Kriti was on his sorry, Kriti on her peak, and Kriti was the peak of emotions,
Yeah, I
and
think it's one of her
she's
finest
brilliant in that.
performances. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially that scene. So that delivery scene. So that's what, as a writer, I know I can tell Kriti or Lakshman sir that what this character, this must be feeling that. But once this kind of scene, if there are no dialogues and it's only the moment, it's morely director and actor scene than
Hmm.
writers. But yeah, my story can. So this is the part of my screenplay. But this you have to now this is like 10%. You have to make it 100%. So
And
that's it.
what I also loved about the screenplay was actually towards the last 20 minutes. I mean, I think I was just on the edge of my seat. Let Mimi have the baby. I mean, it was so beautifully written. I mean, just up until the end. I mean, it was like there's such a great social message as well. Like because obviously, like they end up adopting an orphan from India, and they say only Mimi can be Raj's mum, and I just think that was such a beautifully written scene, and even like the way Summer and John, like even the way Evelyn has spoken like in Hindi.
She's brilliant, yeah.
I mean, it was just wonderful to see actors who aren't Indian
Evelyn
so
did
well.
some magic, because Evelyn, and we had Hima, and we got Evelyn like 7-8 days before the shoot. So and there were so many lines of Evelyn in Hindi, and
Yeah.
she was very worried because she felt those lines are good. They should make an impact the way. So she was working very hard, and we can see it. In first sketch she had 7 days, but she did well. And then second schedule she came back after, like, she was like expert in Hindi. She was saying all the lines, all the words very correctly, the pronunciations.
Hmm.
And because and like when she had lines in the end, she says that parents बनने के लिए बच्चा पैदा करना जरूरी नहीं है.
Yeah.
Parents बनने के लिए
Such
बच्चा कमा.
beautiful
So this is the line. I didn't want to change the line. I said, okay, this is the line, and she loved the line. She said, I want to say it in a right way.
So yeah, and I think
And
it's
she said it.
absolutely beautiful. I mean, and from the beginning, I think, I mean, like you said, like in the beginning, you had the humor, and the humor was just so fantastic. I mean, I remember laughing just from the beginning where he introduces the old lady, and he's saying she could be the surrogate, and I love the dialogue like "Lo batao," and I just think it's just so fantastic. I mean, it has everything. It touches your heart, it makes you laugh, makes you cry, and everything. So I just really was so happy.
Thank you. In the original story, there was a different climax.
Yeah.
So when we were writing, and we always thought that we should come up with something where when the audience is, when they are into the journey of maybe in the climax, they shouldn't feel, because end of towards the end, there will be some people who will have sympathy for Summer and John, and there will be most of the people have sympathy for Lily. But and if a kid goes to her, if the Raj goes to Summer, then so many people will fill the void and left out. Or they'll feel bad. And because the characters were they were good, well performed, well developed, and emotionally we were connected to it. That's what we wanted, right? Then I actually, so I came up with this idea that I had, and I told this to Lakshman sir, and he loved it. I know Lakshman sir very well.
Yeah.
I know what he's going to like. I don't even want his. I know I said, like, so if we have, you'll love it, and he loved it, and we put it in the film, and everybody liked it. That the climax part, and that's why we did some changes around that. Even the adoption is not generally easily possible, so they said we are adopting the baby. We just wanted to introduce we wanted to put that thought that Mimi is the mother of Raj. You know, even she's the surrogate, but she's actually by heart, by soul, but she's the mother
Yes.
of Raj. So you don't need to have your own biological child to become parents or mother or to give love to that. So we just wanted to put that thought in the end, and I think it worked.
It
Comes
definitely,
across.
like, it's such a great social message. I mean, even towards the end where they say a whole country could feel the amount of um, orphans that are left in the world. So
Yeah, that was Lakshan sir's idea. So when we shot the climax and we went and no edit, so he researched about that and he told me, I said, wow, I didn't know this. So we had to research and they put it in the end slate and title and so that's what we kept on even throughout the film. We put some lines through some characters and some situation that we feel should be said in a direct way or satirical way or something because I can't write a script without any substance or depth or governments on society. I just can't do it.
yeah,
You know, if you give me even if you ask me to write a scary movie kind of a slapstick comedy, I'll still put something in it. I don't
yeah,
know how.
have like a social.
I'll still, I don't know. It's probably my strength or weakness. I don't know what it is, but I'll just keep whatever you give me. Anything you could give me a documentary about lions or zebras and
Yeah.
anything. I'll still find some place to put
I think that's
something in it.
wonderful. You're writing, you're bringing into a mainstream audience, and people actually like learn something when they leave. So I think a film should always have a message towards the end. And I
Yeah,
think,
because I feel it's the most influential medium in the world. Cinema. I mean, it reaches to people. It reaches for years, like 50, 70 years. You can still watch a movie and you can still get a message, and you can still think, oh, you know what? Like there's so many movie. Like I remember my sister was a teacher, and she told me in Tare Zami Par, after Tare Zami Par, there's so many teachers who started understanding what dyslexia is, and they started treating children according to that. And so the awareness happened after that film. So there were so many movies like this. So if we get that chance, if we get that space and opportunity, I think I would love to definitely say something, not in a preachy way, definitely, but along with the flow of the story, if we can say something, it's
yeah, and I think
perfect.
that the film has the ability to like remove the stigma that's attached to like adoption and surrogacy. Like you said, like you don't actually have to be biologically related to the child to become a parent. And I think
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful message, and I hope people who like can take something away from that. And obviously you've talked a lot about Luka Chupi as well, and you worked with Maddock numerous times. So I wanted to ask you, what's it like working with such a trailblazing powerhouse such as Maddock?
It's wonderful. Maddox, so Dinesh Sujan, he's a very visionary producer. I've never met a guy who knows so much, like from the concept to the release and promotion and everything. He knows everything. He knows all the every process, every part of it, the shoot, the edit, the sound, the music. He's very passionate about the films he makes. Like if he liked the story script of Luka Chupi, then he's very passionate. He's a casted actor. He was very into it. He promoted it so well. He came up with that marketing line, and he did it, filmed it well, released it well. So I guess even if this the first time happened and Mimi went on to OTT platform, but still the production house was promoting it continuously. They are still promoting it at 6 o'clock.
Promotions are just crazy everywhere.
I mean, it's like every, and that's what happened when you work with a production producer like Dinesh Vijan or Maddock. He really understands the emotional part of the story, and he really understands the entertaining portions. And even he's from Bombay, he's a Mumbai, but if you tell him about small town and this and this and that, he has all the time, he knows it. He knows, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and he push you. So it's a production house where you can take any kind of bold story, and they said if it's written in a proper way where it can cater most of the audience, and they'll make it. You hardly you have like very less producer like this in the cinema.
I know, yeah.
So they made Hindi medium, then they made Spree, then they made Luka Chupi, then
Yeah.
they made Bala,
And
and
Rabta.
Mimi.
And yeah, there's so many
So
like,
yeah,
films. I mean, like I think that's why I was just saying, like thinking to myself that they always kind of look for unique things, and like who would have thought Stree, like it was just so like new to Hindi cinema.
yeah.
And
So they believe in films and they push. It's not about stars or it's not about that. They actually believe in the stories and the makers, and that's the best thing about Maddock. And now even some producers are coming up with like that. I think this is the best time for that, because if a Mimi works or if a Stree works, then you will have so many people coming with horror comedy. That's okay. Horror comedy can work, you know. Let me write a horror comedy. I have a horror comedy. Let's make it. So you need to support these films which are different from the mainstream, the stories, and you need to push them. So Maddox is doing that job very well, I guess, in the last 2, 3 years, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. I think I've always looked forward to anything Maddock produces. Everything is just so different about Maddock, I think. What's next on the cards for you? I mean, I know you're writing Helmet, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's not. It's done. The film is complete. It will release. I think in 2 months it will release.
Okay.
On some OTT platform. Yeah, it's ready. It's on condoms. It's again a social issue. So after living and surrogacy, Helmet came to me. The director Satram, who with his friend, he wrote the story. He came to me. We worked together as an assistant director. But I love the story. I said it's a very different. I just the concept, the line of that. So yeah, we took a lot of time to develop it, and finally we shot it. Now it's complete, and it's a very interesting take on condoms. Definitely, it's not vulgar. We are actually getting into places or zones where we are trying to say that this can be solution to the taboo that we have of condoms. So let's see. We are very excited about it. Sony Pictures and Dino Moria has produced the film.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so let's see this condom. So Helmet is in next 2, 3 months of release, and then I've been writing stuff. Like a lot of things. Let's see.
And on a final note, thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, you've been absolutely wonderful and so honest in all of your answers.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hopefully we can do this in person one day.
We can. Where you live? I don't know. You live in UK,
London.
right?
So it might be more difficult. I live in London, and you're in Bombay.
Yeah, I'm in Mumbai. Yeah.
So so hopefully when things are a little bit better, hopefully when I'm in Bombay.
I've been trying. So all my stories were based on small towns in India. So I told my friend one day, I'm tired of writing about small towns. I want to visit the world. So I'm started writing stories about Canada and New York and London and Paris so that I can go there. Because I said it's enough of Banaras and Mandava and all these places. So yeah, I'm exploring so many subjects. So definitely.
Yeah, well, you're more than welcome. My team at Gallery XF will be more than happy to show you around London, all the great sites.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hopefully,
thank you very much.
Do this in person in the future.
Great fun, great chatting with you, Mimi.
You too, and I just think it was such a perfect time to do this. I mean, when we're going to be a film called Mimi.
When you messaged me, I thought, there's some girl who liked Mimi so much, so she kept her Instagram name as Mimi. I thought that was the case.
And so movie mad Mimi I am. But it's just it works so perfectly. I mean, and actually, it's true. I am movie mad about Mimi, your film Mimi. So it does work pretty well. And so thank you so much. Look forward to speaking in the future. Take care.
Yeah, definitely. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.